Hi there, I'm Sigi. Welcome to another exciting review here on Go For A Run. Today I'm going to give my first impressions and we'll do a first one in the Nike Zegama, which is a very famous trail running shoe by the way. I hear you thinking, and I know, this shoe has already been around since 2022 and a new version is right around the corner, or has already been released, depending when you see this of course. But that just seemed like the perfect moment to test and review the OG, since you will be able to find them with a very decent discount, and it's not said that the new version is better. But let's talk about the specifications. The stack height is 37mm in the heel and 33mm in the forefoot, resulting in a 4mm drop. They weigh 345 grams in my size 46. It's a bit on the heavy side, I know, but there is a lot of midsole foam and especially thick outsole rubber that has probably contributed a lot to this weight. The midsole foam contains Nike Zegama, which we all know, right? Doesn't need a lot of introduction. It's perhaps still an older iteration of the Zegama. To be honest, don't know if they have made any specific changes to that in the last years. If you know, let me know down in the comments. I did read that it's not completely Zegama throughout the midsole though, apparently only in the forefoot and heel. The rest appears to be some form of nylon foam. What I also notice is that it doesn't look to be like an overly bulky base. The outsole looks to be very solid. It's a thick rubber which will absorb a lot of uneven objects on which you'll probably run out there on the trails. The lugs have about 4mm in depth, which is pretty good, and you'll also notice that there are two different shapes of lugs. The more triangle ones at the front and at the rear, then at the sides they are rectangle shaped. What could have been a slight improvement is if they would have been a bit more aggressive. If some extra teeth kind of extensions would have been added to the lugs, like the Hoka Speedgoat 5 for example. There is a little bit of exposed midsole which sits right in the middle of the shoe, but I don't expect any issues with that. Just take it into account that you might feel some objects a bit more in that area. The upper consists of two layers. The outer layer has a lot of ventilation holes, then the inner layer, which is more of a sock kind of layer, is a bit more densely knitted. Furthermore, there is a lot of protection at the forefoot to protect your toes and the upper. The outsole rubber comes up and covers almost the entire forefoot section. This is also the only reinforcement that is present. There is nothing inside that makes that area a bit more solid, but probably that rubber will be sufficient. We will know soon enough. Also at the top of the upper there is a kind of big patch. The heel area feels solid and it looks like your heel sits a little bit in the midsole foam, which will also give that extra bit of stability. More higher up the heel area becomes a little bit more flexible. At the top you can also see that it has a kind of a sock feeling to it. It's a soft and thick fabric but not padded, and I expect this to wrap nicely around your ankle. The padding inside feels good and I hope that there is enough of it. It's thick and the area gets a bit wider, more towards the rear. I do notice that it's not aligned with the top line of the upper, just below that sock kind of thing. Also not at the Achilles. I hope that I don't get that the upper itself pushes on my Achilles because the padding doesn't reach up high enough, which is something I don't like. The tongue is gusseted and completely attached to that inner sock liner. There are ventilation holes foreseen more at the lower end and the sides of the tongue. In the center of the tongue there is a big area that is well padded to absorb most of the pressure from the laces. This area does feel good, but it could potentially result in a bit less ventilation at the top of your foot. So, as I briefly mentioned, the inner sock liner. I'm also questioning if you can run in these without the need to put on socks yourself. For this first one, I'm not gonna try that out. That test will be done in one of my next ones, and I will let you know how that went in the full review very soon. Lastly, the laces look good and have a slight stretch. Curious to see if the length will be sufficient though. I already doubt that it would be if you need to do the runner's knot. Oh yeah, and the insoles can be removed apparently, but they are glued in. So if you really want to replace them, go ahead. But okay, my feet are feeling like the penguins in Happy Feet. Time to wrap this up and get ready to hit the trails. Yeah, baby! Catch you after the run for my first run impression. Well, that's a wrap on those 20k, and it was fun, as you could see, playing in the mud. Who doesn't like it? And also I need to make sure that these shoes are tested properly, because they are a candidate to accompany me on the UTMB Mozart 100 on June 1st in Austria. Woohoo! That's going to be exciting, and I need some decent shoes to run 105 kilometers. But okay, let's first talk about the dislikes of the Nike Zegama. In the beginning, those first 3-4 kilometers, I noticed there was something annoying me on my left foot underneath. I don't know what it was, but I believe the shoe needed a little break-in period. Secondly, sometimes I got the impression the shoe is a bit looser, and then afterwards that's also gone. I don't know. I do know that I needed to redo the laces a couple of times. Both shoes, to be exact. It's a bit finding the correct balance between too tight, too loose. So yeah, finding that correct balance and finding the correct way for the laces is something I gotta practice. I gotta just test it out. But hey, that's already it for the dislikes. Let's hop on the likes. So what did I like about the shoes? Well, it's true to size. They are comfortable. I got a pretty good stability feeling in them, which is super important. You saw the mud. If you're not stable in those shoes, you're gonna twist your ankle, and I got a bit of a habit of twisting my ankle. Also, didn't have any debris falling into the shoe, so yeah, that sock kind of layer at the top, that's just to keep the mess out, which is working for the moment pretty good. We will see with some small pebbles perhaps. Now it was strictly mud, but small pebbles, perhaps they can get in. Who knows? You would also think a shoe 345 grams, you would sense that. Well, to be honest, didn't really notice that they are so heavy. Okay, I only did a 20k. Who knows, perhaps on a 105 kilometers that they will be a pain in the ass. But for the moment, and I will test them further on longer distances also, but for the moment I didn't notice that they weigh 345 grams. The Zoom X is doing its job. My legs feel pretty good, and if you see what I did today, there was a lot of elevation and don't really notice it in the legs. Well, that's it for the first impressions and the first one of the Nike Zegama. I hope you found it a bit entertaining. I hope you found the information useful. If you did, do not forget to like, subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell if you don't want to miss the full review, which is coming your way very soon. Also, look me up on Instagram for daily content and other useful running related stuff. Yeah, baby. And I catch you all in the next one.